We've now reached Plough Lane and the Heineken factory. Here's the dried up city ditch lead named Hereford Brooks. Disappears into a grill under the work, and then across here we've got the Heineken car park and the council car park, and just where the bike is, Beryl bike, is the entrance to a footpath that will take me back to the Wide Marsh Brook. Before we reach the Wide Marsh Brook, we face this obstacle. It would be wonderful as a cyclist to have this removed to enable the cycle route to cross from Whitecross through to Wide Marsh. It would open up far more possibilities for cycling car free. Real effort to get up here, but way off in the distance you can see the Black Mountains. Here we find the old railway lines, which used to be used to transport Bulmer's produce out across the country, particularly to the north and Scotland. Straight ahead along the path is a small bridge over the Wide Marsh Brook. If you turn right just before the bridge, that takes you onto Wide Marsh Way, which runs directly next to the Wide Marsh Brook on its left, with Westfield playing fields, Sixth Form College playing fields on the left of the brook. Highbirth has done a lot of work on the brook alongside Wide Marsh Way, clearing to let more light into what is actually a very good section of the brook with a lot of gravelly bed and some good invertebrate finds in the sampling that's been done over the years. We're just coming up to an area that's been cleared and has a lot more light. And another area here. At this point here at the end of Wide Marsh Way, the brook takes a sharp right against that brick wall and disappears under the way and reappears the far side of the old railway line, heading for the aptly named Millbrook Street. So we turn right off Wide Marsh Way along Moor Walk, and that leads us to the bottom of Prior Street, but we can make a left into Millbrook Street. Here's the brook flowing down towards us from Wide Marsh Common underneath Millbrook Street, and out the other side here we are on Edgar Street by the Christian Life Centre, and flowing towards us from Millbrook Street is the Wide Marsh Brook. Safely across Edgar Street, the brook emerges from under the A49 and makes its way across to Merton Meadow Car Park, which in different circumstances is a delightful spot with willow trees, kingfishers, fish, but at the moment it is the COVID-19 testing centre, so I'll not be going there. I should of course have said I'll not be going there today. Here we are at the bottom of Wide Marsh Street. The old bridge over the Wide Marsh, which wraps itself round behind the large 1930s pub, which was the Entertainer and is now Signature Interiors. That's on its way out of Merton Meadow Car Park. One of the willow trees visible in the centre of the frame here. And a few days later, with the wind to contend with, we'll swing past the Signature Interiors, and here's the Wide Marsh Brook on the other side of Wide Marsh Street, and at this point it's running parallel with the canal, which is just over beyond the Thrifty sign. At this point the Brook has clearly been put into a man-made channel at some point in history. It runs very straight towards the tall tree in the distance. So I've now come down Widemarsh Street towards the city centre and then turned left onto the City Link Road, which brings me to the far end of Thrifty. If I swing to the right, there's the tall tree we could see. Down here, in front of the corner of the building, is a deviation that was made for the brook when the City Link Road was built. The original line of the brook carried on towards the line of trees here, but instead it's been brought straight towards me from the corner of the building to pass underneath the City Link Road on which I'm standing. The brook flows under the City Link Road through this new concrete culvert and then swings to its left to run along in a lined channel that I understand is temporary, parallel with the fence here and the City Link Road. This takes it round two sides of this area here, which is one of the three areas liable to flood along the course of the Widemarsh Brook. We call them sumps for want of a better word. You can see the back corner here of J Mart to the left of the leaning tree, and this area here has a range of possibilities. Some people believe it could be used for development, although that would need to be built with a ground level capable of being flooded, and there's a lot of support for a plan to turn it into some kind of city wetland. More of that elsewhere. Back on top of the culvert of the City Link Road, there's an interpretation panel that gives some explanation of the really interesting industrial archaeology of this area, which has been researched by, among others, David Lovelace and Andy Tatchell, and there is a lot that has been found out about this area, going right back to glacial times, with finds in the peats that were dug into on the bed of this hollow. If we just go round here, it's just possible in the centre of the screen to see the water exiting the culvert and then turning left down the temporary channel along the edge of this sunken area. But the best name for it really is the Essex Arms Sports Ground, named after the Essex Arms pub, which was dismantled and moved up to overlook the car park at Queenswood. The medical centre sits pretty much on top of the end of the line of the canal, which would have swung right at this point into what is now Jewson's Yard, which is where the canal basins were, well, the bulk of them were located.